Half of the Colosseum is simply gone. Time didn't destroy it, and barbarians didn't tear it down. It was stolen. And in this video, you'll learn who actually dismantled the greatest arena on Earth, stone by stone, what the Vatican has to do with it, and how building this giant structure in the first place was the most brilliant political con ever. One that made an entire city forget tyranny and blood. How do you make a whole city forget the tyrant who burned their homes and built himself a palace on their bones? You give them a spectacle once so intense, it makes their blood run cold. While Rome writhed in agony, its emperor, Nero, wasn't running with buckets. He stood on a balcony and caught inspiration. The fire wasn't a tragedy. It was, frankly, Roman-style urban renewal. He just needed to clear out those damned slums to free up the site. Imagine this today. A mayor secretly sets the historic center on fire to build himself an elite golf club. Absurd? For Nero, it was a business plan. On that charred ground, on the cooling bones of thousands of his own citizens, he threw up not just a palace, he built a monument to his ego, the Golden House, a personal Disneyland for a psychopath. Halls of ivory, rotating ceilings painted like the night sky, even his own sea. An artificial lake in the very heart of the capital. It wasn't just a spit in the face, it was a giant middle finger cast in gold and pointed at everyone who survived. But the pendulum always swings back. Patience snapped. Nero was removed. A new man took power. A veteran, a general, a pragmatist to the core Vespasian. He wasn't a poet or an actor like Nero. He was a crisis manager. And he looked at a smoldering, embittered Rome and understood. This city is a powder keg. One more spark, and it won't be timber that burns. It'll be the regime. He grasped one simple truth that political technologists still use today. To control a crowd, welfare isn't enough. It needs a show. It needs a place where it can vent all its hatred and rage, safely, for the rulers. He pulled off what may be the most brilliant PR move in human history. He came to the site of Rome's deepest humiliation, Nero's private lake, the symbol of his tyranny, and made an announcement that changed everything. He drained the lake, he tore down the bastard's palace foundations, and on that very spot, on that scar in the city, he promised to build something grand, not for himself, for them, for the people. Thus the Colosseum was born. It rose right out of the grave of the Golden House. It wasn't just an amphitheater, it was a genius lightning rod for popular rage. Thus the Colosseum was born as a gesture of atonement, a way to channel the mob's anger into a controlled stream and buy its loyalty with blood. But who paid for this banquet of stone and death? Tens of thousands of slaves captured after the brutal crushing of the Jewish revolt. Their personal hell on earth, living, disposable construction material. With no cranes, no modern tech, under Rome's blazing sun, they raised, stone by stone, a monument to their own enslavement. Every block of this temple of entertainment is soaked with their sweat and blood. It literally stands on a foundation of human bones. And the main course on this bloody menu was always death. In the very center of this roaring 80,000-seat hell sat one man, a god on earth, the emperor. His couch overflowed with luxury, but his most powerful weapon wasn't the legions beyond the walls. It was a single gesture. Forget the Hollywood nonsense about thumbs up or thumbs down. No one knows for sure how it really was. What mattered was the moment thick as tar. When 80,000 throats fell into absolute silence, all eyes on one man, and with a light, almost imperceptible motion of the wrist, he decided whether a life would end. This was absolute, unfiltered power live. It was the first reality show in history, and the price of losing wasn't getting voted. Off it was your life, the cruelest live stream ever. And the emperor had total control over the chat of 80,000 throats, waiting for his signal to explode in a roar of approval or hatred. That's real power. And now forget Russell Crowe. Gladiators weren't beefcakes chasing glory. 90% were expendable. Slaves, criminals, prisoners of war. Livestock with a one-way ticket to the arena. But there was another 10%. The desperate. Free citizens, ruined aristocrats. People cornered so hard that a quick death in the arena seemed better than a slow one in a ditch. For them, the Colosseum was the world's only blood casino. A chance to hit the jackpot of fame and money. Or die trying. They all took the same road, to the Ludus, the gladiator school. Not a sports academy. A maximum security prison fused with a fight club. They beat the humanity out of you, broke you, and rebuilt you, turning you into a killing machine and actor in a theater of blood. You weren't an athlete. You were a prop expensive, but disposable. And beneath the arena under the sand, that over centuries soaked up tons of blood hid another world. The backstage of hell. The Hippodrome. It wasn't a storeroom. It was an engine running on human muscle. An underground city of tunnels, cages, and wrap your head around this 80 elevators. Picture it. Dimness. The stench of sweat, fear, and wild beasts. Dozens of slaves, like living mechanisms, cranking giant winches by hand. Wood creaking. Caged lions growling. Quiet prayers from people who will rise in a minute. The last elevator of their lives. A lift from darkness and the smell of death to a stage drowned in blinding sun and the roar of 80,000 throats. Roman engineers built a machine of death that worked like a Swiss watch, and sometimes even that wasn't enough. They flooded the arena for real naval battles, naumachii, not just an event. A message from Rome to the world. We can do anything. We can create a sea in the middle of our city. We can bring all of Africa here and slaughter it in a single day. We are gods. You are not. The year 404, the last fight. Onto the arena, right into the center, runs a scrawny monk named Telemachus and shouts for the fighters to stop. The crowd, crazed by the interrupted show, tore him to pieces. But his death shook the emperor. Within months, gladiatorial games were banned. Forever. You'd think that was the end of a bloody era. But for the Colosseum, it was only the beginning of its own long, painful death. And then, a new virus came to Rome, the virus of an idea Christianity. This new faith saw the Colosseum as a giant, bleeding altar of paganism. The games dwindled, the last gladiator fight was fought, and the arena fell silent for centuries. So who stole half the Colosseum? Barbarians? Earthquakes? Time? The answer is simpler and scarier. First, earthquakes shook it, bringing down the southern wall. And then began the biggest heist in history. It was dismantled for building materials by the Romans themselves. Ordinary townspeople, aristocrats, even popes hauled away stone, marble, and iron for centuries. Let this sink in. Stones from the Colosseum built dozens of palaces, and even part of St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican. The greatest monument to pagan cruelty became the foundation of a new faith. And that's where the circle closes. The very stones that soaked up curses and blood now hear prayers for forgiveness. The Colosseum completed its journey, from symbol of imperial brutality to symbol of repentance. It's a monument to human nature, to our cruelty and our genius. A place where crowds of people, no different from us, came to watch other people die. For entertainment. And looking at these ruins today, ask yourself one very uncomfortable question. Have we really changed? We still greedily watch fights, scandals, and drama. Our arena is just a smartphone screen. The Colosseum isn't just stones. It's a monument to human cruelty and brilliance. A place where huge crowds people like us came to watch others die. For fun. And looking at these ruins today, ask yourself one question. If this journey to the core of history hit you, then you know what to do. A like and a subscribe tell me to dig even deeper into this hard truth. If you're here for the same uncomfortable truth, if this autopsy of history worked for you, subscribe. Because on this channel, we don't just retell the past, we dive into it to understand who we really are. Now it's your turn in the comments. What did you feel? Honestly? Disgust? Surprise? Maybe you recognized yourself in these Romans? Write it. Because the main question isn't who destroyed the Colosseum. It's what it built inside us.